Welcome back, everybody, to our division breakdowns for the Super Mega League Baseball. Today, we're going to be looking at the Earth Division. We'll take a peek at all 6 teams, some of their strengths, some of their weaknesses, and what we think their season is going to be looking like here in the inaugural Super Mega League Baseball year. Let's jump right in it with the Sigmas, first team in the Earth Division. Their notable player that we're going to be taking our first look at is Rupert Tran. Plays shortstop, and he is a do-it-all player. 5 tools, but doesn't really excel too much on offense. He can hit for power, and he can hit for contact, but his numbers aren't going to blow you away. However, if you take this above-average hit tool and his base running and combine it with his elite defense, you've got yourself a valuable player. Though his batting doesn't really outshine the best of the best in this league, he will rarely strike out, and he's constantly going to be getting his bat on the ball, even when down in the count. At 22 years old, the attributes this kid has can really propel him to great heights. He's got a bright future ahead of him. The next thing we'll be looking at for the Sigmas is their bench depth. Now, it is a strength in some ways, but for similar reasons, it's also a weakness. They have a lot of powerful weapons coming off the bench, and many of them are better players than some of the starters. But due to them playing the same position as some other better players, they just can't be utilized. Mohamed Nunez, for example, is the backup right fielder. He is rated higher by the game than 4 of the Sigma's starting position players. Due to the low quality of their starting center fielder, he could fill in there just to get his bat in the lineup, or he could even DH if needed. It's going to take some juggling and maybe even a complete reorganization of the lineup and the roster to get this team to reach its limits, but it's possible. They've got some quality players. Finally, we'll be looking at the pitching staff for the Sigmas. With solid but not incredible hurlers all across the board, the staff will rarely give up a stinker, but just as rarely pitch a gem. Sigma fans will have to hope the team's bats can produce often, as a 1 or 2 run performance is often not going to get the job done. That being said, 5 or 6 runs could be just enough. In a league with big swings and even bigger wins, look to see a lot of close games on the Sigma's schedule, one way or the other. Finally, for the Sigmas as a whole, the roster's got good players, and it's got a decent pitching staff, but the pieces aren't exactly fitting together the way that they should. Some free agent signings and salary shedding could turn this team around in a hurry. Instant success is probably a bit far-fetched, maybe unlikely, but the core players could make some noise in the coming seasons. Next up, we'll be taking a look at the Drakens. The first player we are going to look at is Screw Lawrence Jr. The utility man doesn't hit for a ton of power, but his skills can really be put on display anywhere on the field. With great contact and elite speed, plus a decent glove, Junior covers a lot of ground on defense and wreaks havoc on the base paths. He's one of the fastest players in the league. Combining that with a solid hit tool means we can see Screw at the top of the OBP and stolen base charts. His ability to throw a pitcher off their rhythm could enable the rest of the lineup to hit above their expectations as well. A true catalyst for a quality team. Next up for the Drakens is Bottomley Hayes. More like a light version of Screw Lawrence Jr., Bottomley Hayes plays 4 positions, has a lesser glove, but hits for more power. The duo's combined ability can push runs across the board and make sure the holes are filled when a man goes down. Adding on to his versatility, Hayes is a switch hitter, and he packs an incredible punch against lefties. These two 24-year-olds can combine to create a strong core on a contender for years to come if they plan on sticking it out together. Our last player spotlight for the Drakens is going to be Heathcliff Crane. One of the most disgusting pitchers in the league. You won't find anyone in the SMLB with more movement on their pitches. Boasting a fastball, 3 breaking balls, and a cutter with some movement on it, hitters are going to have to be psychic to figure out where the pitches are ending, because it sure as hell won't be where they think it is. If Heathcliff can keep batters guessing all season, expect him to be in the running for Pitcher of the Year. If he gets too predictable or squirrely though, hitters could potentially sit on the curveball and wait for a fine Italian dinner middle. With the power in this league, that's not a dish you want to be serving up. The Drakens are one of the better teams. They lack traditional star power in the lineup, but they're expected to get wins by committee. If the lineup's clicking and everyone's on, they can be a well-oiled machine that rolls the division. That being said, it takes a lot going right to have that kind of a season, and a few things going wrong could derail them. If they're firmly in the mix by the end of the season, expect some late acquisitions to bolster the squad and possibly push the Drakens over the edge. In the 3 spot in the Earth Division is going to be the Rise and Grinders. The first player we'll be looking at for them is going to be Leighton Soto. Like the rest of his teammates, except for Garius Ho, Leighton Soto has a monster bat and a garbage glove. But that monster bat is elite, and paired with wheels fresh off a Ferrari, Leighton Soto can be a menace. He's a switch hitter, entering his prime at 25 years old. Soto finds even more power against righties and will continue to do so for a long time in this league. If he can improve his barrels, he will be an elite player and can take a game over by himself. Next up for the Rising Grinders is Dozer Bates, a true grinder. Dozer Bates is a bit less extreme than Leighton Soto. His weak glove and arm strength could get exposed at third base, but they're a lot closer to league average than Soto. The same can be said of his bat, though. He is still a great hitter, but his ability to put the bat on the ball and to do so for power is definitely there, and he has the speed to make opposing defenses pay. His future could be in flux, but depending on what areas of his game he improves, he could make an impact anywhere on the diamond. One of the most interesting pieces of any team in this league are the specialists in their pitching staff. The Rising Grinders lack a traditional pitching staff with 4 full-time starters, a long reliever, but no true closer. Their bullpen, including that long reliever, are true specialists. With quality pitches to combine with their skill, lefties will struggle mightily in the later innings. All 3 of these hurlers, Alexander Smith, Major Hester, and Rosalind Kruger, are left-handed, meaning the ability for basically any lefty to hit once the starter has been chased is dangerously close to 0. Righty-heavy lineups are going to fare a lot better against the Rising Grinders, but keep in mind, these are still talented pitchers. Lefty-heavy lineups will be in serious danger of getting blanked by this bullpen. With no true closer on the roster, the situational awareness of the manager will be key. What matchups do they like? Where can they maximize the value of the specialists? A delicate dance that requires more finesse than most teams are equipped to properly deal with. Taking an overhead view of the Rising Grinders, we see a heavy number of above-average power hitters, contact hitters, and sometimes both. The Grinders can and should put up a healthy number of runs each game. With their astoundingly bad defense across the board, they will need to put runs on the board or they will flounder. Combine this fact with the specialists all being lefties, and it's entirely possible a righty-heavy lineup eats the Grinders alive. Even lefties could see success due to errors in the field on the Grinders' end. A high-upside offense most likely will not have the long-term ability to carry a lopsided pitching staff and possibly league-worst fielding. The Grinders may be basement dwellers this season. We'll see. Leading off the second half of the division, we got the Ballpark Franks. Their top player is a man by the name of Blaine Tamayo. Much like many other teams, the best player on the Franks is a 5-tool player. And though he is 1, maybe 2 years from retirement, Blaine Tamayo still does it all. All the experience he's gathered over the years has bestowed upon him ice in his veins. With his stellar contact, any man in scoring position tends to get home when his name's called. The Franks will surely miss his presence when he's gone in the all-too-near future, but for now, Grandpa gets the job done in just about every way you can ask. Next up for the Franks is Timothy Davis, a demon on the base paths, a defensive stalwart at every position on the diamond, and a decent hitter to boot. Davis is the everyman's everyman. It'd be a crime for him to be in the lineup less than 100% of the time. He's that valuable anywhere you put him. With one of the best gloves and some of the fastest wheels in the league, Timothy Davis makes the routine look pedestrian and the outstanding plays look easy. He may not be the best hitter, but his defensive value could outweigh some hitters' offensive value. The last hitter we're taking a look at for the Franks is Frank Franco, the moonshot man. He will hit absolute bombs off any pitcher that even sniffs the strike zone. His elite power and his above-average contact make him a threat at the plate every AB. His terrible speed and lackluster defense limits his ability to contribute defensively, but with the ability to play first, as well as a nice arm on him, means he could catch too if he needs to. If that speed gets better with age, he could have a future in the corner outfield spots as well. Gunning men down at home would be no tall task for this absolute tank. Finally, for the Franks is a relief pitcher, Dante Mastiff. What a guy Dante Mastiff is. Though he is a reliever, he sports a 5-pitch arsenal, elite velocity, nasty junk, and near pinpoint accuracy. He isn't a closer, but he could put many of them to shame. When he's on, he could be unhittable. Couple that with his ability to destroy lefties, and you have yourself one of the nastiest specialists in the game today. Not too many standout guys on the Franks, but the situational abilities of many of their players means when it comes down to crunch time, they can produce. Teams with this kind of clutch can do special things when the stars align. And I'm not saying they're going to be contenders, but I am saying check your telescopes, just in case. Coming in the second to last spot, we've got the Nocturnals, with one of the most exciting players in the game, Jalen Reed. He is a rare breed in today's baseball. Jalen Reed is a machine at the plate, and from the catcher position, no less. His top-tier hit tool, combined with a cannon of an arm, makes Reed a menace behind the plate and to the left of it. A catcher that can walk the walk is a sight to behold. Unfortunately for the Nocturnals, that's about all they got. The next player we're looking at is Augustine Tinklethorpe. And we're not even looking at him. We're just in awe of the name. What a guy. Finally for the Nocturnals is Lawrence Reynolds. This young stud does everything well. He's got 4 pitches and top-line peripherals across the board. Lawrence Reynolds has the ability to keep the opposing team to just a couple runs each and every time out. Unfortunately for him, his lineup is just as likely to get blanked. He very well could rock a 2.5 ERA with maybe 1 or 2 wins this season. A disappointing amount of talent in the lineup, a decent starting rotation, and just a truly dire bullpen is going to make this team hard to watch. If you're a Nocturnals fan, you're thinking rebuild all the way. Just about the only thing selling tickets for the Nocturnals is their stud catcher, making their stadium more akin to going to SeaWorld to see Shamu than going to a stadium to watch a team play baseball. Last but not least, in the Earth Division, we've got the Swarm, starting with possibly one of the best players in the entire league, B. Armhorn. Holy shit, what the fuck? B. Armhorn is cracked. She's goated. She's possibly the best player in the league. Elite power, incredible contact, incredible speed, and a hankering for pitches on the inside half. Pitchers with any sense of self-preservation will do everything in their power to pitch outside to B, or just pitch around her. At only 23 years old, B. Armhorn is a legend in the making. Mark my words, Jesus Christ. Not to be outdone in her old age, Lorelei Flores is up next. One of the better hitters in the league and probably the fastest player in the league. She gets on base, then takes the next base, then takes the next base, and then she's home before you even know what hit you. And she's 42. What are they putting in the water over here? It's entirely possible Lorelei's on a retirement tour and could be done in a moment's notice, but damn if she isn't going out on top. Last up is one of my personal favorite players in the league, and that's going to be King Guerrero. A 22-year-old closer? Check. Throws gasoline? Check. Looks like he's throwing a wiffle ball? Check. King Guerrero is just a name for now, but it may be closer to the truth than we know. Though he has some accuracy issues and is known to walk a guy or two, if he can get that under control, he will truly be the king. Disgusting. The Swarm is a top-heavy team. Incredible talents like B. Armhorn and King Guerrero mean the Swarm often won't need their less exciting players to contribute as much. But if they don't have it some days, the Swarm could get in trouble fast. The Stars are going to have to shoulder a lot of the load, or management will have to bolster the roster. It'd be a shame to get nothing out of these absolute studs. With the analysis of all 6 teams in the Earth Division done, that is going to be a wrap. If we didn't talk about your favorite team, then keep an eye out for the rest of the intro series. We've got 2 divisions left and wrapping it up with our preseason predictions before the season gets started. Leave a comment down below for how you think the division will stack up. Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's going to have a disappointing season? What hot takes do you got? I want to hear them. I want to see what you guys think about these rosters. Like the video if you enjoyed, and we will see you next time in the Super Mega League Baseball. See ya.